Thanks for having us. This one goes out to all the commanders out there. It's called Victory. I hope y'all like it. 1, 2, 3, let's kick it.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Today, I've got a bit of a special guest that we've been planning this or talking about this for quite a while now. Mal for the win. How are you, Mal?
I'm doing good. Thanks so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, I'm glad. Like, when did we first bring this up? Like a month ago, 6 weeks ago?
It's something like that. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been a
yeah.
while.
It's definitely been a while. So I'm glad we could finally work it out. Thanks for your patience with me. And then I think you were busy one week, right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
so yeah. So today, guys, we're going to be pretty just chill. And wow, okay, something just freaked on YouTube. I got to make sure YouTube's not broken because all of a sudden my viewers went to 0. And I'm guessing that's not correct. At least let's hope not. We go live and everybody leaves.
I was going to say they were like mouth for
Okay,
the
there
win.
we go. There we
Oh
go.
God,
It's
no.
back to normal. It's back to normal. It was just a momentary pause. So for fun, guys, today we're going to just kind of be chit-chatting, just a little bit about Mal's channel. We're going to go see just a few pretty sights around. I'm right now, let me get in my external camera just to show you a prettier view. I'm at one of my favorite destinations, which is called Mount Everest. It is a series of mountain ranges, and I don't think I'm at the main one. I think the main one's actually there behind me. That is the highest known, I believe, in the entire galaxy, at 50 kilometers high. So some of the views, as you kind of see here from the peaks and stuff, are really, really impressive. So I thought we'd just start here so we can chit chat a bit. At the end, if there's enough folks around, we'll have to see. There's a pretty good group in the lobby in Discord right now. We'll see if they're interested in doing some CQC. That's kind of been tradition around here to end a stream that way, so we very well might do that. But yeah, for the moment, we're just gonna chit chat and see. So Mal, why don't we start with the first maybe kind of obvious question? Tell us about the name.
So that's an interesting story. So it's one of those, the Mal for the Win name is one of those, it just kind of happened due to circumstance, due to availability sort of things.
Okay.
So I have been playing World of Warcraft since it was in the beta stage, like the vanilla was in the beta. And I've been part of the alpha and beta test teams for World of Warcraft since Wrath of the Lich King, I guess.
Okay.
And my character on that, I pretty much had only one character and very few alts. And it was, my character was Maldarius. He was a arcane mage. And when I came to Elite Dangerous, I thought, well, I'll just bring that name over. Well, it turns out that there's already a Commander Maldarius, and at the time they were pretty active, and I'm like, okay, so I got to come up with something different. So I was like, well, I still want to use Mal, and Maldarius is actually a combination of Captain Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly.
Yep,
So that's where the Mal comes from. And then the Darius part is a buddy of mine that I knew from college from South Carolina, whose name was Darius, who I always thought that was a cool name. So it just became Maldarius. So I was like, well, I got to keep the Firefly part if I'm going to change my name. So it became Mal for the Win, which became Commander Mal for the Win. And now I'm Mal for the Win everywhere on Twitter and YouTube and Discord and all the different places.
How random that Maldarius was taken.
Right? I was like, nobody's going to have that name.
Yeah, that is a pretty bizarre one, right? And yeah, there was a question in chat, or somebody commented about, can you skydive off Mount Everest? You can't necessarily skydive off of it, but you can kind of jump SRVs off of it. There was a time in the game where you could jump SRVs off of it into orbit. It's so high because the peak of it is above the orbital glide point. But a while back, man, it was at least a couple years ago, they quote unquote fixed that. And so now, unfortunately, you can't, which is a bit of a bummer. But yes, you could. And somebody pointed out, JD Matkins said something like, hey, from the top, you can see the curvature of the planet for all those moronic flat earthers. Right. I don't think anybody that's dumb enough to be a flat earther is smart enough to be playing Elite. Right.
That's probably good. That's probably, there's some good math there, I think.
Right. Yeah. So I'm trying to find, I don't think that's it, because there's this little mountain range I just found, but every time I come here, I'm like, is that it? And then it's like, oh yeah, that's it. Right. It's so damn obvious. But I haven't been here in a bit. And last time I came, it was daylight. Cement, welcome, buddy. Why aren't you in chat with us, man? And thank you for pooping on me as always. Cement always donates $1 and gives me the poop emoji. Just so nobody thinks I'm into something weird or anything, right? So tell us a little bit, like how long? There it is. There it is. Wait a minute, I just found it. It's always so obvious. It's always like, wait a minute. Yeah, now everybody on stream is seeing like it's this massive, massive mountain, and that's why.
Good Lord.
Of course, it's there. And yeah, just a quick game note for those that haven't, that don't know yet. So the current community goal, while it's way out in Witch Head, it's 1,000 light years away. It is finally Thargoid combat. I personally am very much looking forward to going out there for it. And they did something cool this time, and I really like that they're doing these kind of modules. Like with the last one, they gave us the dual engineered module, which was really fantastic, right? It's for this one, if you finish in the top 75% or higher, it unlocks the Guardian Frameshift Drive booster, and they give you a Class 4 booster. And while I think that's great, anybody that's flying 1,000 light years out there has either already got the booster or has a fleet carrier, which means they probably already have the booster, because, by the way, if you don't have the booster, it's about maybe an hour and a half tops to unlock it. And my most watched video ever by a pretty big margin is my Guardian FSD booster unlock video. So if you don't have the booster, go unlock it, because it's one of those things that, you know, I put in my 13 things you're doing wrong video. Like, if you don't have it unlocked yet, you absolutely should, because you're doing it wrong if you don't. So I think it's a little odd that I love that they're doing these modules, right? But that seems odd to me.
Yeah, it seems a little bit weird. I feel like my first thought when I heard that's what they were going to be doing was, oh well, this must be a. Hold on one second.
You're good.
I'm right nearby. I'm about to drop in on you if I can do it.
Have I got my beacon on? Let me make sure I've got my beacon on.
I'm not sure.
There you go. I just cycled it for you.
Okay.
I was just showing everybody my third-person camera just to give them a nice little pretty pan around of it.
Nice.
Oh yeah, encrypted said, yeah, the booster is the best Guardian module in my opinion. Huge Guardian. Yeah, I agree. The Guardian Shield boosters are can be pretty great. The Guardian module reinforcement is arguably better than the standard one. But yeah, the Frameshift Drive booster can't be overstated. For those that don't know, it adds up to 10.5 light years of jump range to any ship. So it's on top of your current engineering. It doesn't stack. You can only put one. But yeah, it's an absolute must-have module. So
yeah, it's a fantastic, and I like that it's flat, that it's a flat rate, based on the module size.
That's right.
You don't get a percentage. It would be nice to get a percentage, but I kind of like it because it makes the math on jumping a little bit easier. It's hey, if I've got a ship that's got a class 5 slot available, I know I'm going to get 10.5 light years. I don't have to worry about like, well, what if, what if I engineer it? Do I get a difference then? It's like, nope. It's just a flat bonus to your current jump range.
And it just makes all the math so easy. You got let's say you've got a vet and it's got like a crappy like 12 or 13 light year jump range. Well, bam, it's got a 23. Right. And so that's how, like right now, the most you can get with current engineering, you can do an Anaconda at 84.17. The DBX is about 75 and change. The Phantom is about 74 and change. And the Asp is about 73 and change, if I remember right. The most you can get out of them. Right. If it's like a Frameshift Drive, a seat and a booster. Right. You wouldn't necessarily want to live with that, but you can hit that range. Right.
I like the thought of a ship that's just a Frameshift Drive and a seat and a booster, and that's it. There's nothing else in the ship.
I built that Anaconda just to do it, and then I realized it's so miserable to live with because you can't boost with it. You've got the weakest thrusters possible, right? It's just like and I can't even put a mod. It's so right at its maximum weight or its minimum weight. You can't even put a weapon on it, right? Like if I want to use it to go engineer or something. So I actually have a second Anaconda that's just for moving modules around and things like that, because I didn't want to screw up, because the way you hit that jump range is you can get to 84.11 by doing normal stuff.
Right.
But then for the last thing, for that last 0.06, you have to go to Felicity and put strip down on the thrusters. But you have to do that while it's on the ship, because if you take those thrusters off and try to put them back on, it won't let you because you're over mass. Right?
Oh,
Because it doesn't
interesting.
think you can do it, but it will let you do it and kind of cheese it if you're at either Felicity's or Palin's, and add that experimental after it's all done. That's the only way that you can do it.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah, yeah. So like Minnie, if you know the Commander Minnie, he and Ghost Draft did a video a while back where they got his Anaconda to 84.33, but that's because he has legacy engineering on his sensors to make them just a little bit lighter than you can get these days. So because of that, he's got the current record. And I've not heard of anybody else that's got that beat. So, but the most you can build right now is 84.17. So, what is your? Let's talk a little bit about your favorite kind of gameplay and such. What is that? What is your favorite type of gameplay?
That's a good question. My favorite type of gameplay is actually, so I just recently started doing mostly FA off, flight, and I'm really enjoying like trying to become very, very good at FA off flight. So like canyon racing, trench racing on, or like trench runs on a Coriolis station, all that kind of stuff, and it is so difficult, but it's also so much fun and so rewarding. I'm finding that I just like flying a spaceship right now. Traditionally, exploration has always been my favorite. It's what originally got me into the game. Some of the most, like, I started playing, I bought the game in, like, I don't know, 2016, and then didn't play it until Distant Worlds 2. And that was the first point at which I went, oh, this is going to be a big deal. I want to get in on this particular, expedition. So I joined up, went on Distant Worlds 2, ended up doing the Voyager Trail on the way home. So following the path of the USS Voyager from Star Trek on the way home. And I think total over the course of 7 months, I did maybe 337,000 light years.
Wow.
It was, I took the long route. Now, granted, some of that, and you'll appreciate this because this comes back to the Guardian Frameshift Drive booster. Some of that distance is because I left before I unlocked the Guardian FSD booster. And when I got the Sagittarius A, it occurred to me I might want to have that on my ship. So I flew from Sag A all the way back to the bubble, watched your video, unlocked the booster, then flew all the way back out to Sagittarius A.
Gotcha.
So it was fun. It was an interesting swap.
Can you get can you get that big bitch landed here?
I don't know. We're gonna try.
It's a little.
This is actually the ship that I took on Distant Worlds 2.
Yeah, so when Mal and I were talking ahead of time, and we're talking about what we're going to do and stuff, and we talked ships and stuff, he mentioned he was going to bring the Clipper. And what's your jump range on that thing?
Right now, I've got a couple of extra modules on it. When I have it in full exploration mode, it's 54.1.
Yeah, that's
light years.
I forget that the Clipper can hit that kind of range.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not one that you would expect. And the cockpit is great.
Yeah.
For exploration, you don't get the lower view like you do on something like the Asp Explorer and stuff. Yeah. I think right now I'm at 46 light years, and that's with minimally. I've swapped some modules out to other ships, so I don't have. I'm gonna boop this.
I don't think you're gonna touch down there. There's a big hole in front of you. Don't sweat it. I just touched down just to do it. We're not gonna stay here all that long. And do you have the black skin on it right now?
Yeah, this is the Midnight Black paint job.
That's my favorite. I run the black skins. Every car I've owned for the last 15 years has been black. So I'm a big fan of black on ships and stuff, and especially the Clipper with the red or with that blue white crystal blue lighting around it. Right? Yeah, there you go. Roll left for me. Perfect. Yeah, it's such a pretty ship. What would you say is the prettiest ship in the game?
I think it's the Clipper. I like, it's always been my favorite ship in the game. You can see design elements there from so many different like sci-fi and space franchises that I like. You've got pods out on the end that gives you a little bit of a nod to Battlestar Galactica and Star Trek. It's got very smooth flowing lines. So you've got a little bit of an organic shape to it. It's got the, like you were saying, the blue accents, the EL or neon looking, which reminds me of Tron. So it's like little pieces of all these things that I like from all these different shows. So I'm like, I got to go with this. It's my favorite. And believe me, I have tried to do everything in this game, in this ship. And the one place that it falls horribly short is combat. And that's because of the weapon convergence. The convergence on these things is like a football field wide. The only thing that makes it viable in combat is using turreted weapons.
No,
so you can
not
build
turrets, gimbals, gimbals, no turrets, you kill me. No turrets, gimbals, gimbals.
Here's the thing. Like even with gimbaled weapons, like I can't make it work for PvE. I can't make it work for PvP.
Really?
Like having
For
flown
PvP,
other ships.
No, yeah, PvP.
And knowing how well you can get like a crate Mark II in PvE or PvP,
agreed.
like it's so much better. But oddly enough, you can take this ship and you can outfit it with AX multi-cannons that are turreted.
Sure.
And
where you don't get
it becomes a really good scout killer.
Sure.
It's actually really fun to do scouts with. But the place it excels, it really is exploration. Because it has a decent jump range. 54 light years is okay, and that's with an SRV bay in there.
Yep.
And the thing that I really like about it for exploration is its super cruise maneuverability. It is so easy to fly in Super Cruise.
Sure.
And 80% of exploration is spent in Super Cruise.
Yep. Absolutely. So, one of the things I've used it for in the past, I tend to use the Phantom for it now, but the Clipper would be great for it. It's like material gathering, right? Like if I'm doing high grade missions and stuff, because you've got so many slots in it for collectors and cargo racks, and, for limpets and things like that. It's really, really good for that. It's it's the two, because you've got the two larges that are out on the wings. Everybody's seeing it right now. You do have the two mediums that are up underneath, so those aren't too bad for convergence. But yeah, the outer ones are just awful. I find that like generally what I'll run on it is like a couple gimbaled frag cannons on the wings, and then like either some maybe you could do fixed rails, obviously fixed, but rails on the center, or just another pair of frags. It tends to work good. But I'm curious, chat. I've seen a couple people answer what everybody thinks is the best looking ship. I personally, for me, it's the Imperial Eagle. I'm much more of a fighter kind of guy, right? Like versus a ship, if that makes sense. So I like the little tiny cockpit type things. A lot of my regulars know I play in VR a lot, and so I like the feeling of being in something small and nimble. And I've got an Imperial Eagle that does the max at 932 meters a second, which is pretty nuts to fly. But man, I would be hard pressed to argue with you that the Clipper I personally like the Eagle's lines because I think it's smaller, it's a little more aggressive looking. The Clipper is a very close second. I've seen a couple things for the Mamba. I actually do think the Mamba looks pretty great. I'm not a big fan of the FDL, to be honest. Sorry guys, I love to fly it, but I don't love the way it looks. I'm also not a fan of the
I would
Cutter.
agree with that.
There's something about the Cutter's lines. I wouldn't call it ugly at all, right? It's definitely in the top maybe 5 or 6 ships, but I wouldn't put it up that high. Certainly not number 1 for me. I think the Standard Eagle looks great. I mean, come on, the Sidewinder is ugly as fuck. But I love the Sidewinder, but yeah, it's horribly ugly. What are we forgetting? The Vulture, I think, looks pretty good. I like it. It's very purpose-built. I also kind of like the
Viper's not a bad looking ship for what it is. It's it's like the better looking cousin of the Sidewinder.
I don't like the Viper. The Viper 4 and the Cobra 4 I think are awful.
I agree.
Let's see. Java said docked on a fleet carrier, the FDL can surpass 50 light years. Right, nice. You could make an exploration FDL. The beluga, the beluga, I actually think, and the dolphin especially, I think's pretty great. So Mad Seeker asked about how I'm finding the Quest 2. I was telling Mal before we got started, if I hadn't gotten sidetracked this morning, the review video is done. I need to kind of proof watch it, so it'll be up about in the hour or so after the stream. The short version is, I think I even, to quote myself, say it's fucking terrific. So yeah, it really is fantastic. I addressed the whole Facebook thing, so you got to get past the Facebook stuff. And I know for some, I think the poll I put up was 62% said they wouldn't even consider it because of Facebook, which I definitely think is short-sighted, but that's my opinion. It'll be more in the video, but yeah, the video will be up soon. The one thing I will say, I streamed the unboxing of it on Tuesday when I got it. On Wednesday, I got the Elite head strap for it. Absolute game changer and must have. It is just
really,
oh my God. The difference is because the head strap on it is like your Go, where it's just a fabric strap, right?
Right.
But the problem is it's heavier than the Go, and the sweet spot for the lenses is pretty small, and it's where it's, at least for my face, it's fairly high up on my cheeks. So to get it to be in the right place and be constant, I have to really strap it pretty damn tight, right? And so even after like 15 minutes or so, it gets tough, right? Where I'm kind of tired, and after an hour, I've got to take it off and let my face rest. With the Elite strap, it's almost as comfortable, if not as comfortable, as like my HP Reverb is, with one exception. And as I say in the video, I don't know what leather-faced people they got to test the faceplate for it, but it's awful. Right? It's like this fabric material, but it's kind of rough and grainy, and it feels soft to the touch at first, like if you touch it with your hands, but on my face anyway, it gets really scratchy and really hot. So there's an aftermarket Oculus leather faceplate that's $30. So you kind of have to factor all that in. Like the $300 is the base price, which I think is phenomenal that they hit that price, and it's usable at that price, but really you definitely want the Elite strap for $50, so it's really $350. Then I think you definitely want the leather faceplate, so it's really $380. Then you want a USB Type-C cable to hook it up to your PC, which the one I got was $25, so it's really $400. Okay, but still, even at $400, I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you were saying, I mean, like for this, because that's what, $200-300 less than a Reverb.
Yeah, the Reverb Pro was $650. The Reverb is $600, and so you're talking $200 less. So it's 2/3 the price. But the big benefit is I can take it downstairs and play room scale stuff. I can take it to my friend's house. Well, maybe some point in the future when I can go to my friend's house, I could take it at my friend's house. But so, it's this mobile thing. I can, you do still want to keep the fabric strap, I found, because the Elite strap, at the back of your head, there's this big like plastic cup for the back of your skull, which is great. It's super comfortable. And there's a knob that you turn to tighten and loosen it. Well, because of that, there's a lot of bulk behind your head. So if you're wanting to like lay on a couch or lay in bed and watch a movie, which I actually do in VR, you can't use that head strap. So I found myself putting the fabric strap back on so I could watch a 3D movie. And by the way, have you ever watched a 3D movie in your Go?
Oh my gosh, yes.
It's fantastic, isn't it?
It's so great.
Yes.
It's so great. I didn't even know that was a thing until I got to go. And then I was like, I'm so glad I can watch movies like this.
People don't realize how good 3D really is. Like 3D TVs with the glasses sucks, right? Everybody hated that. But because the 3D effect in VR is essentially perfect, right? To watch a 3D movie inside the VR headset's incredible. Like literally last night, I watched Tron Legacy in it, just because it's, to speak of your blue outlines on your ship, right? And it's just such a great experience. I think I've got something in the neighborhood of 200 3D movies in my Plex library for that reason.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So that review will be coming out soon. And Mal and I were talking about VR before this. So, I don't, lose your shields. Careful. Careful.
That's what the shields are there for.
Well, hey, fair enough. Right. Which is actually, it's funny.
This is a bit of an artifact of the muscle memory is trying to kill me. So
yeah, so we were talking about. So let's go back to what we were talking about. We were talking about
okay.
that you're doing a lot of FA off, right? And
hmm
so, are you trying to have the goal of true 24/7, never turning on FA?
Yeah, that's my goal. That's my
Okay.
goal. Is I want to get to the point where I'm like right now I'm FA off flying around
Okay.
around this mountain trying to not die. But again, this is the exploration ship, so it doesn't have top grade thrusters on here. It
Okay.
doesn't have there's a lot that I could do for maneuverability for this ship, but it's that's the goal. Is I've joined Newton's Gambit. I've made the pledge to be full-time FA off, and right now the only thing I use FA flight assist for is basically a parking brake. If I
Yeah.
need to hover in
Yep.
space and stand
Yep.
up, go get a drink,
Yep.
or if I'm on stream and I'm talking to somebody and I want to really focus on the conversation.
Like a
I'll
minute ago
toggle
when we were
FA
both
on.
just floating
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. And that's pretty much all I use it for right now.
Why don't you just
But
quickly
yeah,
explain, just in case we have some new viewers that are new to the game, why don't you
Mhm.
quickly explain what FA on and off is?
Okay, so FA, anytime you hear FA in Elite Dangerous, what you're talking about is flight assist. And it's basically how much assistance the computer gives you in flying your spaceship. How much it helps you to counter movement. So I'm gonna turn flight assist on for a second.
And I'm toggling it on stream on my screen right now. And you'll see, guys, in the top right
Yep.
corner where it says info, you'll see it say assist off and assist, just it'll say assist off.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you don't see that, that means assist is on.
Yep. So basically, when you have flight assist turned on, it means that your computer is taking care of things like making sure your ship stays exactly where it is and countering all of that Newton's laws of motion. So
I was going to
that
say it
an
makes it
object
fly
in motion,
like an airplane, right? More than
Right,
just
right.
yeah, like a zero grav
an
spaceship,
airplane,
right?
or it's like somewhere between an airplane and a car, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
like if you're sitting at the stoplight and you have your brake on, your car is not going to go anywhere unless something hits it, right? And then you have to, in order to get moving, you have to hit the accelerator and start going. So like right now, my ship is just sitting here because I have flight assist on. If I push the button and turn flight assist off, the first thing that's going to happen is gradually gravity is going to start pushing my ship down, right?
Sure.
So I'm going to start feeling the tug of gravity. So like right now I'm looking at my my dashboard, my HUD, it says I'm going 15, 16, 17 meters per second.
Same
I
here.
haven't touched anything.
Same here.
That's all gravity.
Yep.
That's gravity kicking in, right? If I were to, and if I let that go, eventually I'm going to crash because flight assist is not correcting that for me. The same thing happens with if I were to apply forward thrust with flight assist off, right? It's going to keep me moving in that direction. I've quit accelerating. I don't have hands on the control anymore, but I am still moving in the direction that I applied thrust, right? Newton's, it's like the difference between flying with full Newtonian physics versus not. If I turn flight assist on, the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to come to a complete stop because the ship's computer knows I'm not applying forward thrust. So it's going to automatically apply enough reverse thrust to get me to stop. And that's the biggest difference is it basically untethers your rotation and your vector, the direction you're moving, from what's happening on your controllers. It means that if you tell it, hey, I want to go left, you're going to go left until you tell it, hey, I want to stop going left by telling it to go right.
Yep.
Hopefully, I don't know if that makes sense or not.
No, it makes
but,
absolutely it makes sense to me, certainly,
yeah,
and I think that's a
yeah.
great way to explain it. I think simply put, flight assist on tries to make the controls simple enough so that again it flies much like a plane, or much like you would in atmosphere, that kind of thing. FA off is like you said, there is no assist. It is just like you're floating in space. You have to make all the thruster controls, and I think there's a little bit. One of the things I want to be clear about for folks is while I applaud Mal for going full FA off and stuff like that, I don't necessarily think that's something that's super important for everybody to learn. Meaning, that the
Right.
more important thing is, and it is a great skill, don't get me wrong, right? But more importantly is being able to know when to use FA off, specifically in combat for turns. So for example,
Yeah.
and the great thing about my setup is, do you still use my overlay, by the way?
I do, yes.
Okay, great,
Yes.
great. So if you've seen Mal's stream or mine, certainly, and you can see mine right now where I've got my overlay going so you can see the controls. Let's say I want to do the fastest turn possible. Well, let's get myself going here. And I can only do one boost with this distro, so I'll save that. But if I'm at full speed, the fastest way you're going to turn is going to 50% throttle. I pull up and turn, right? And so there I flip around, right? Well, if I want to turn the fastest, a boost turn is what's actually going to do that. So let me not hit Mal. And I boost, and while I'm turning, I go back to 50%, and there's my turn, right? Well, the real fastest way to boost, to turn, is get your boost in, flight assist off, and turn. And then once you're turned around, pop it back on. Okay, so one of the things to get used to is exactly that, specifically in combat. You want to turn something, you boost, your FA off, you flip backwards, FA back on as soon as you're around. I don't know if I got all the way around. All the way around and back on, right? Another thing you can do, and this is what we do for a game we call a play called Coriolis Darts, where you want to you get about 6 kilometers from the station, you boost, and you want to go through the mail slot, flip around, and leave without hitting the station or dying, with FA off the whole time. And so the way you do it is, if I boost, go to 0 throttle, and right at the end of the boost, I pull back, right? I'm still going in exactly the direction I was, even if I'm facing down, right? Because I boosted in a straight line, and I didn't start my turn until that boost was complete. So again, if I'm lined up here, and I boost with 0 throttle, that's going to bring me to a stop. Okay, let me do another. Boosted 0 throttle, wait till the end, FA off, and then pitch back. You see how quickly I flip around, and now I'm literally going in a straight line while you see me just rolling and making everybody sick. So let me flip over and stop, right? So that's what FA off is.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think that FA off is there's a lot of people who say, oh no, you're not a real pilot unless you use FA off, and I don't think that's true.
Right.
I think that you're a pilot if you're in the cockpit and you're flying a ship.
Sure. Sure.
For me, it's what controls, and people ask me this a lot on stream. They'll say, hey, what control do you use? Do you like keyboard and mouse better? Do you like this better? Like, what's the best? And I'm like, that's actually a false question. There is no best. There's what's best for you.
Great answer.
What makes you feel the most comfortable flying? You could argue, Virpil, VKB, Thrustmaster, X56, X52. No, I like the Microsoft Sidewinder joystick. But in the end, if it's not the right control scheme for you, you're going to hate it. And that's going to make you not want to fly, which is going to make you not fly as well.
Right.
You have to find what works best for you.
Agree.
And the same is true for flight assist on or off. You have to figure out, do I enjoy flying my ship most with flight assist on, with flight assist off, or with toggling from one to the other?
Yep.
And I think once you figure that out, then you'll know. Like for me, I enjoy the way my ship flies with flight assist off. Sure. Not everybody's going to like that.
Sure.
To your point about turns, if you're in combat, you guys just saw when Exigeous was doing the boosting and the turning, just a regular turn, about 5 to 6 seconds to do a complete turn. When you add the boost in, it's about 3 seconds. When you go to flight assist off with the boost, now you're looking at about 1 second to turn around. The difference between a 5-second turn and a 1 second turn in combat is gigantic.
Yep.
It's like the difference between going into combat with engineered modules versus vanilla modules. It's that big a deal.
Absolutely. And one of the things, as I was trying to do, it's a little easier with the station because Mal's a pretty small target right now. But one of the things you can do to practice it is get outside a station or a fleet carrier, go FA off. This is great practice for your thrusters too. Put in a left or right thruster and try to keep just on target and orbit that target. So like right now, I'm trying my best to stay like on Mal, and if you want to make little inputs, right? And I'm doing yaw, and yaw is not the fastest input, right? And so try to spin around a target again. It's a lot easier in a big station, and get used to feeling that and feeling. And I think the best way to learn it is on the large class ships, right? So ships like the Cutter and the Corvette, if I'm in combat especially, I do fly those fully FA off, because you don't want to fight against something that's got that much mass. You want to just let it go where it wants to go, so to speak, right? So you're just working with the momentum of the ship versus fighting it. Where in something small, even this Asp is light enough and has good enough thrusters. It's got grade 5 dirties on it that it's, I'm going to be able to work, to fight that and still get good performance. Whereas something big like a Vet, Anaconda, Cutter, something like that, especially the Type 10, you really want to be able to go with it, right?
Yeah.
So
I found that to be true too. I found that being in a large ship, I favor FA off even more. It's almost like a must-have for me at this point, because you're right. You use the phrase "fighting the ship," and that's exactly how it feels to me. It feels like I'm fighting the ship when flight assist is on. But I think it takes a while to get to that level of comfort with flight assist off before you feel that way. Like the first time you turn flight assist off, it's like, oh my God, what is wrong with my ship? Everything is broken. And then once you get used to it, the opposite becomes true. I can't count the number of times in the last, 6 months when I've been really trying to focus more on flight assist off that I've been like, what the hell is wrong with my ship? Oh, flight assist is on again.
Yep. And something real quick, I just saw Tiger King, thanks. So Tiger King on Twitch is pointing out, and he's totally right, that another key thing to turning quickly and things like this is where your pips are, right? So because I'm an exploration ship, I'm just leaving my pips in, full pips and engines. My regulars know I constantly preach pip management. I use macros, as you see right now in stream, so I can bounce my pips around incredibly quickly. When I'm in combat, I change my pips every couple seconds. And so you're doing things like, if I'm in combat, I might have, 4 pips in engines and 2 pips in weapons. I'm shooting a bit. I go for my boost, and I get all pips back in engines for a second. Okay, I know my engine distributor's back. Now I'm back in weapons. Okay, it's time for a turn. Pips into engines, because you do turn faster when you have full pips in engines versus not. So, Tiger, thanks for pointing that out. I'm glad I saw your comment. Right, because that is a very good thing. While we're chatting, Mal, why don't we go ahead and head to Scardy?
Okay.
So guys, I posted in, if anybody is around and wants to follow us, you're welcome to. We're just going to do a little bit of sightseeing today. Let's turn that HUD off because that's ugly. And head to Scardy next. So we're leaving Nervi, Nervi, 3A is where we are now. And so Scardy next is one of the hotter known planets, where you'll see in a second. I hope you've got heat sinks with you. You literally are fuel scooping.
I don't know
as
that I
you
do.
Drop. Okay, I mean you'll take some damage, but you'll be fine. You're literally fuel scooping as you drop into glide, and we're going to be right in basically the corona of the star. So it's pretty impressive to see.
Nice.
And yeah, by the way, somebody also mentioned sub-targeting when you're in combat. That's another great thing. If anything, so you're going after a specific module like the power plant, that's great. If you're PvPing, the frameshift drive is not a bad choice. If you're doing NPCs, like I said, the power plant's great. But just to get you the targeting, a little tiny targeting reticle on it, I find is great for fixed weapons, right? You've got a little bit of a smaller thing to aim at. It'll help you micro gimbal a little bit with rails and things like that. Let's go back to something I wanted to get into since we were talking about FA off and stuff. I know you fly HOSAS, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why don't you explain to everybody?
Development.
Yeah, tell everybody what that is and then what your setup is.
Yeah. So I'm one of those pilots who I'm comfortable with keyboard and mouse, but I prefer to use a control system. Until recently, I've been using the Logitech X56 HOTAS, which is hands-on throttle and stick. So I've got I had a stick in my right hand and then a throttle, that you would slide forward and back in the left hand. And I absolutely love that setup. It's a great. Some people have had quality issues, I know, with Logitech, with X56, even back when they were SciTech, before Logitech bought them. Me personally, I happened to get my hands on a good one, I guess.
Yeah, you know what's funny?
Works perfectly fine.
I've seen, and you know, you see negative stuff like that online, right? And I always try to tell people is, remember, you're only going to see the people bitching about them, right? You're not going to see the
Right.
thousands of people that got great ones, because personally, I've never known anybody to have trouble with one. Right.
Yeah.
And while I like the physical design of the X52 better, it just fits my hands better. It's the 56 is a really great one, especially for the money, because of the number of hats that you have available to you on both the stick and throttle. Now,
Yeah.
I don't
Yep.
know if you've noticed recently what prices have been like for sticks and
Oh my
hoses.
gosh. Yes.
They've gone up
been insane.
ridiculously, and I'm assuming it's two reasons: primarily because of COVID, and secondarily
Right.
because of launches like Flight Sim and Star Wars
Mm-hmm.
Squadrons. Right, because so I fly the Warthog, and recently I had some like I was getting some shadow button presses, and so the
Right.
lazy guy in me thought, maybe, you know, last time I bought my Warthog, it was like $400 for the whole setup, or maybe it was $450, and the sticks are usually about $200. I'll just see, maybe I'll just go buy a new stick, because my current stick's probably got 2,000 hours on it. Dude, right now a Warthog setup is $1,200 if you can find it. Right,
Yeah.
the X56s are going for like $500 when they're normally like $250. Okay, so it's been insane what prices have been like. And so if you have been wanting one and you don't have one, sadly, right now is not the greatest time to buy them. Right.
Yeah,
So-
this is the flight control equivalent of what happened with graphics cards when people realized you could use them to mine bitcoins.
That's right. That's right. Yep, that's exactly right. Okay,
I keep getting gold Cobra errors, not letting me log back into the game. So I'll keep trying.
Can you not even log in, or can you not jump?
It's not even letting me log in now.
Because Obsidian was getting orange Sidewinder this morning and couldn't log in.
Yeah, it logged me out when I went to jump. I was doing my second jump towards Scardy, and then it dropped me out. You know, gold Cobra, and now it's just sitting at the screen. You know, with the ship spinning.
Yeah. Can you log
and it's
into private or solo?
Let me try as soon as it tells me no.
If you can get into a
go on
private
this, I'll
group,
give it a shot.
I would meet you there, obviously. I mean, at least we can still chat, and I can show my screen. And by the way, I did want to point out, because Encrypted is absolutely right. VKB Sim has not increased their prices, and they've got stuff in stock. In fact, because of that, I started considering that. Fortunately, the lazy guy in me was like, okay, this is stupid. I've got a soldering gun, and I know what I'm doing. So I took the thing apart, and as soon as I took it apart, oh, look at that. Now it's not loose anymore. It's actually broken off. And two of the wires popped off the base of the stick to the DIN connector. And I just got the soldering gun out, restarted it all. Everything's perfect again. Right. Except that I need to take it apart again, because somehow I messed up the alignment in some way. So now it's got a little bit of pitch down, a little bit of right roll. So I had to add a dead zone. Like if I go into the third person camera, like right now, it's pitching down and rolling left, and I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
So I've got to go back in and fix that.
Interesting.
It's quite annoying.
Interesting.
So I'll just show.
Yeah, I've been loving my X56, but recently, and like last month, the generous Elite Dangerous community and my community, the Dogs of Lore, actually funded a pair of VKB space combat sticks.
Yeah, which ones?
They're the Cosmosima grip, and then the Gunfighter 3 base.
Okay.
So
I'm familiar with that base. Let me bring up the grip. I'll show everybody. Hold on, guys. And you guys, everybody can see on stream that I'm floating at Scardy right now. I'm 0.35 light seconds from it, and I'm already at 92% heat. Let me pop a heat sink real quick. Sticks and rudders. So you got which one again?
It's the Cosmosima, the space combat grip.
Space combat. I'm not seeing one named that. I see the Gunfighter Mark III Space Combat Edition. Is it that one?
Yep, that's
that
it.
one. Okay. Gotcha. So let me show everybody. So this is the one that we're talking about. Make that a little bit bigger.
That would be it. And I've got they have two variants. They have a premium and a regular. The difference is the thumb button on the premium is actually a 4-way hat.
I'm looking at that right
and you
now.
also get a scroller or a full like mini analog stick on the premium as one of your top hats. So it's a really, so I have the premium on the right and the regular on the left. So I'm going through the process of muscle memory retraining to learn how to fly without a throttle and with 2 sticks instead.
Yep.
And the amount of control you get in flight assist off is insane.
And so let me ask real quick, did you do...
Yeah.
So that comes in a left and right-handed, correct?
Yes, that's
correct.
So
you did both. So you got exact matching sticks, right? Yeah, okay. Did you consider keeping your X56 throttle and doing dual stick and throttle?
Yes, I did. And I'm still kind of torn because I do want a throttle. Now, VKB does not currently have a throttle on the market, but they've had one in development for a couple of years.
I've seen that one. It looks amazing.
I know. That's what I'm holding out for.
Okay.
I feel like that they've said they haven't given a hard release date. They've said maybe this year. We're thinking this year. The most recent comments from them, from VKB, from their U.S. offices, because it's made overseas, right? But they have U.S. offices, and they've said, we're thinking a Lunar New Year release. So Q1 2021 is what they're aiming for. Whether or not we'll actually get it, not sure.
Okay.
But that would be fantastic. I would be incredibly excited about having the VKB throttle to go with these sticks. However, in the meantime, I've really been thinking hard about getting the X56 throttle back out just to have it for when I'm doing exploration. Because right now, the left twist is what's my actual throttle, or what my forward and reverse thrusters are. For setting throttle in Super Cruise, I have to have one of the hats relegated to 0%, 25, 50, 75, and then push it in gets you 100%.
Okay. Okay. Yep.
So I have that. Or, I mean,
okay, so
there are some people who...
So you're not actually using the stick as throttle. You're using the hat to set, to set specific throttle positions. Right. So you don't have fine throttle control. You've got just, which is, I'm assuming, fine anyway, right?
Right. The only time I ever use throttle is when I'm in Super Cruise. And most of the time you don't need fine control in Super Cruise.
Sure.
You just need those gross numbers because in Super Cruise there's no reverse either. Right. So I either want to be at full stop or I want to be at 75% to hit that blue zone for Super Cruise Assist or for my approach to a station, or I want to be all out 100% because I'm getting ready to jump. And as long as I have those that I can dial in, I'm kind of okay. Because again, once I drop into normal flight, I'm flight assist off and I'm only worried about thrusters. I always have my throttle set at 0. Which is another nice thing I like about the overlay that you put together is I actually added in a forward and reverse thrusters indicator.
Oh, that's great.
So,
okay, cool.
Yeah. I have not gone through the trouble to remap them and redo them since I went to dual stick, but it's cool being able to see the full throttle. I bet I have a screenshot I can send you if you want to look at it.
I'd love to see it. Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, I'm landing on Scardy A1
hey,
right now.
I just got back into game, so...
Oh, you did? Oh, great.
Yeah.
And were you able to get back into open?
Yep. I'm back in open again. I think, yep, there we go. I'll send you a wing invite real quick.
There we go.
On its way.
And I'm down on the surface now. I'm going to just show everybody some of the views from down here. And somebody asked, Spencer asked, are there magma planets in Elite? And yeah, kind of. There's high middle content worlds that you'll see that are essentially, big giant spots of just magma all over the surface. Now, you can't fly down and land on them or anything, but they can be very, very pretty from Super Cruise. And so let me just show you guys what this place looks like. So, whoops, let's back up a little bit. And yeah, you get the the view of that star from down here is, whoops, through the ground. I hate how the camera shorts out when it's through the ground.
Yeah.
And again, if I let go of the stick right now, actually, that's a nice little smooth pan for me, and I'm not even doing it. It's just doing it for me. Maybe I'll leave it this way. And so
That's very nice of it.
And yes, Nordic, we're live right now, buddy. Somebody asks, is this live now? Yep, we're live now. So do both of those sticks offer twist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically what I have, and this will make sense since we talked a little bit about flight assist off and the fact that you have a total of, we didn't mention 6 degrees of freedom, but basically you have 6 different axes that you want to be able to control. You have your pitch, yaw, and roll, which is your attitude, like which direction you're facing. And then you have your thrusters, which work kind of on those same 3 axes, but instead of talking about rotation, you're talking about velocity. Are you moving forward or back, left and right, or up and down? So my right stick is entirely rotation. I have pitch on the y-axis, roll on the x-axis, and yaw on the twist. On the left is my direction, my vector of travel, right? So what's pitch on the right is vertical thrusters on the left. What's roll on the right, my x-axis, is lateral thrusters on the left. And then twist is forward and reverse thrust.
Okay. All right, I think I've got that. So let me go through that again. So your left stick, forward, backwards, left, right, is going to be your thrusters, forward, backwards, left, and right. Or your up and down thrusters, left and right thrusters.
My up and down are actually forward and pushing the stick forward and pushing the stick back. So it's using that y-axis the same way on the right.
I don't think I do.
Pitch.
Okay.
On the left, it's my vertical translation.
And then twist to the right, I assume, is forward, and twist to the left is backwards?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, see, I think
sounds weird when you hear it.
Yeah, see, I think I would personally do forward as forward, and twist right would be up, and twist left would be down. But hey, that's why you can buy your own custom shit, right?
Yeah, exactly. Right. And the nice thing is the way these sticks are built, the controllers, and I'm about to drop out again. I'm in a Braben tunnel. Dang it. The nice thing about these is the control unit for these sticks is actually an external black box.
Right.
So it uses very little USB overhead. You can plug them into almost any port on your computer or any kind of hub because the processing is happening in these little black boxes in between the stick and the computer. So you can flash those boxes with new firmware when they release new firmware. You can load your curves into the boxes. It makes it a very, very, you get a lot of customization because you're not reliant on a piece of software on the computer. You're coding everything into an external module, basically.
Sure. I've got do you have their pedals as well? Or do you use pedals?
No, I do not. Good question. I actually can't. Well, can't is not. I prefer not to use pedals. So I'm a U.S. Army vet. I got injured in the line of duty while I was overseas. So I have like some spinal cord issues. I can still walk and stuff like that. But occasionally, and by occasionally, I mean like 80% of the time, my feet are like numb and I don't have good sensitivity in them. So it's difficult for me to use pedals because I can't always tell where they are. Right. And I have to like look down. Yeah. And if you're in combat, if you look down and look back up, you're done.
Right. Well, first of all, just quickly, thank you very much for your service. And I'm sorry to hear that.
Sure.
I'm sorry to hear that you have to deal with that. That's a shame. Right.
It is what it is, man. I would still be doing it to this day if I could. That was like by far the most rewarding job I've ever had was being in the military.
That's great.
Loved it. Loved every minute of it.
Good. Because so back to what we're talking about, I do fly with pedals, and I actually have the VKB Sim pedals. And so it's got the exact same breakout box that you're talking about, right?
Yep.
So I know exactly what you're talking about. And it is, they're great. And I love my VKB Sim pedals, right? They don't have, the only thing they don't have is they don't have toe brakes. So it's not a full pedal. It's like it's almost like a little fulcrum, like a little rod that your foot goes on. And what I like about that, though, is they're really small, but they're all metal construction. They're very well built. I've got, the 7,000 hours I have an Elite, every hour of it is on these pedals, and I every now and then I have to tighten something a little bit, right? Because one of the screws will get a little bit loose, but that's it, right? I'm on my second Warthog stick and throttle, and the only reason I didn't go Thrustmaster, go Virpil at the time was it was back when you only could order like the day they release shit. You couldn't like pre-order essentially. And now they finally got it where you can be on a back order. But even them, their back orders right now are like 3 months is I think the current estimate.
It's a long wait. A long wait.
And they make great stuff. But for the moment, I'm very happy with my Warthog setup. So
it was difficult for me to decide Virpil versus VKB. And luckily I came across actually somebody in my chat, Interested Observer, said, hey, I've got both sets. Let's get on a Google Hangout and I'll walk you through both of them.
Oh, that's cool.
And that way I was able to see like the physical difference in the size of the sticks, the way they work. He took them both apart and was like, here's what the internals look like. Here's the good points and the bad points. So it was really nice to be able to see that level of detail without worrying, am I spending, $200, $300 on a stick or on a grip that I might end up not liking.
Sure. And it looks like you crashed again?
Yep.
Damn.
I don't know what's going on.
Can you not get back in again?
I'm trying.
Okay.
This is attempt number 3. Attempt number 3 was the one that worked last time, so.
Okay, good. I'm going to go ahead.
Hey, there we go.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll wait for you. I was gonna go ahead and head to Epsilon Indy, but I'll see if we can get you down here with me.
Hey, I can meet you over there.
You want to do that? Okay. So one of the things I was going to point out to folks when you leave here, and I'll do it just to do it. If you jump to Super Cruise again, you're going to definitely let me resynth ammo. You're definitely going to have a heat sink. Need heat sinks to be able to do that. If, however, you're jumping out, like let's say that wouldn't have worked. Because it happens to be Epsilon Indy's on the right way. But let's say I plotted in this direction and now it's literally through the planet. Well, a trick for folks is because remember, jumping to Super Cruise from a planet and waiting to get into orbit so you can turn takes forever. So if you're ever needing to go somewhere, just quickly plot the other direction of the planet, jump that way, then replot your hyperspace jump and then jump on. It's a much faster way to actually get somewhere than waiting all the time to leave, glide, and all that kind of stuff. Now, I will go ahead and do that just to show. So let's see, even if I jump to, I love it here because, you can literally see the giant prominences off the sun that are basically going through the planet practically. So if we go to Super Cruise, you see I'm already.
That's a great tip to plot the other direction. That's one that I did not learn for a long time. That one, and there's another plotting trick you can do. So if you are doing a lot of neutron jumps, right? Or you're doing a lot of jumping where you have a longer route plotted, like you might have 40 or 50 jumps plotted out, but for some reason you need to make a stop. Maybe you need to hit a fuel star or you need to do something else. When you go into the galaxy map, you can actually pick a system just off your route and don't map to it, just target it. Make it your next jump there, and then all you have to do is just open the galaxy map and close it again when you get there, and your whole route is still in there.
Sure.
And I had never thought to do that, and I'm like, oh, this could have saved me so much headache and time of just thinking to target another system instead of actually plotting to it, so you don't lose the route that you've already got stored.
Well, another one, if if you've got that routed, you know how to what's the name of the command? And by the way, you guys, you see how many times I'm having to pop heat sinks? I just used 3 heat sinks to leave without burning to death. So there's a target next system and route. Do you know that feature?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So target next system and route is great. So let's say you've got a route plotted like I've got right now. And let me get out of witch space and I'll show you. And let's say for whatever reason, I target something else. So, okay, here we go. So I come out and I target this planet. Well, now you'll notice my next jump is gone, right? So it's like, well, okay, so my choices are to open the galaxy map again, or if I use the target next system and route command, bam, I'm right back to what I had previously targeted, right? So kind of similar, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's a much quicker way to do it too. And HCS voice packs supports that command. It's one of the built-in commands. So you can actually say target next system and route, and it will automatically, assuming you have a keybind for that, it will have read that and be able to do it for you.
Okay, so I noticed you said route. What northern state are you from?
That would be. So I'm actually from Georgia.
Oh,
my
really?
dad's from Brooklyn.
Okay.
My mom's from South Carolina. So I have a little bit of both of both. But I have determined that if I say next system and route, it doesn't understand me.
Really?
I have to say next system and route.
Okay. Now, all right.
Even though I've done all the speech training, I've got everything set up right, it just does not understand when I say.
Where in Georgia are you from?
Atlanta, just outside of Atlanta.
Well, be more specific. I'm from Gainesville.
I grew up in Tucker.
If you don't mind. Yeah, absolutely.
And then moved to I moved to just outside of Roswell when I was in high school. My family moved up there.
Okay, I dated a girl in Roswell just after high school. So I grew up in Gainesville and am currently taking care of my folks in Flowery Branch. If you know where Oakwood is, you might know Flowery Branch, but if you know where Oakwood is, Flowery Branch is a little tiny suburb of Oakwood, which is a suburb of Atlanta, kind of, right? So, wow, small world, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, and my dad was from Minneapolis, and so growing up, he was very, very careful to break us of the Southern accent. His favorite saying was, "That's an ing word," right? My sister and I would say, "Hey, Dad, I'm going swimming." That's an ing word. Okay, Dad, I'm going swimming. And now he passed away in 2012, but now I could just kiss him for doing that because I don't like the Southern accent. And I hear it a tiny bit in your voice, but not really. So. Yeah,
I think that's because I had one parent from the North, one from the South. And then I had, I was in the military for 10 years where you get, accents from all over the place.
Sure.
And I tend to be a bit of a chameleon. So if I hear an accent, I just my brain automatically makes me want to try to talk with the same accent. So
Yeah, gotcha.
It's interesting.
And by the way, I see that you're back in. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, great. I sent you a wing invite again. There we go. Perfect. Make sure my beacon
nice.
On. Yeah. And there was something. What was I going to say? There was something we were talking about before. I want to go back to. When we were talking about gravity assist and FA off, somebody pointed out. I mentioned commented at the time that's basically what speed bowling is. And so speed bowling is when you get above a high G planet and you use a gravity assist to bring yourself to a massively high speed. Like I literally got a Type 9 to 10,000 meters a second.
Oh, nice.
Right, and that's how you do it. I've had an Imperial Eagle right above the surface at 2,500 meters a second, which is also pretty damn amazing.
Nice.
And it took me 45 minutes to get the Type 9 to that speed, but I did it, right? So obviously you've been speed bowling before?
I have. Actually, last year's Speed Bowl 3 was my first time.
Okay.
I was streaming it, and Primetime Casual and Sanderling both hopped into chat and walked me through how to speed bowl. So I got to learn live on stream with two very, very good pilots exactly how to do it. And I went from not being able to speed bowl at all within about 6 or 8 hours. I went longer because I got addicted. Because it's so much fun once you figure it out.
Yeah.
I got to where I actually had a qualifying run, and I think I got up to 3,900 meters per second.
Okay, great.
Which is not incredibly fast, but it's definitely faster than you can go. you
I
know,
think the fastest
when
I've
you play
seen,
by the rules.
I want to say the fastest I've ever seen is somebody had a Mamba at 38,000.
Jeez, man, that's
I'm pretty
insane.
sure that's right. Maybe it was. Yeah, because it was higher than the 10,000 I hit, so it must have been that. I've got a video on speed
Yep.
bowling if somebody goes and sees it, and I show a clip of him and quote that in the video, so I'm pretty sure that's the speed. By the way, speaking of speed, if you guys will see
Yep.
on my screen right now, I'm at, so the planet I'm orbiting or in front of is called New Africa. We're in Epsilon
Yep.
Indy, and the moon you see, Midorant Hollow, orbits this planet every 90 seconds. So think about how
Yep.
batshit crazy that is. And no, obviously it's not realistic. Apparently it was a bug early on in the game that the community found, and everybody loved it and thought it was cool, and they've left it ever since, which I actually think is pretty great that they did. What's interesting about it is you can't catch it. I'll show this in just a second. You have to let it catch you. So if you ever want to land on it, which you can, and we'll do that because the view from it of New Africa is awesome. You have to hit it from the front. Otherwise, let me let it get past me a little bit, and I'll chase it. And I see that Shatter Mage is here. What's going on, Shatter? So let's see if we can try to catch up to it. And so back to sticks real quick. So soon, I'm not sure if you've seen, they did an early Kickstarter, and apparently they're getting ready for another one, a company called Sublight Dynamics.
Yep.
Okay,
so there's another Twitch streamer, Sadie, who's Commander Albina in game.
Yes. I've talked in
one
length
of the
with her.
very earliest ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so this is a stick,
it.
guys, and I'll show a picture of it in a second, that is a 6 degree of freedom stick. So in a single stick, you've got roll, pitch, yaw. Then you've also got thruster control, up, down, left, right, all in one stick. And so as you guys see, it is getting away from me. Right, so I cannot catch it at this speed. So let's go back out a bit. I'll get some distance, and then we'll come back to it on the other side. In the meantime,
Hey, you can just sit there and wait for 90 seconds. It'll come around to you.
You can. Let me bring up the Sublight stick and show that. So this is
such a fantastic design.
Yeah,
such
it really
a great idea.
is. I guess this is really the best picture of it right here. Let me zoom in a bit. If I can, well, it's not letting me. Let's see if I can do it this way. There we go. And so as you see the way the base works, it's all pressure controlled. So it moves in very tiny little bits, but you can push it forward, pull it back, up, down, left, right, and then twist, and then roll, pitch, yaw. And then the two little knobs that you see to the left of the three hats in the middle are rollers, so that you can use those as your main throttle controls if you want. I reached out to the company, man, I guess 2 or 3 weeks ago, and they're supposedly they've got one prototype that they ship around to content creators and stuff, and supposedly they're sending that to me in about the next 2 weeks. So I'm very much
interested.
Yeah, I'm really
to hear your opinion on that.
The kind of bad news that they gave me was, apparently it seemed like if I wanted one, that the next batch for the next group of Kickstarters aren't going to be ready until something like the end of 2021.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And
I heard the same thing.
Yeah, they're targeting $400 though, which I think would be awesome if they hit that price.
Yeah. If they can hit that price, that's fantastic. I did the same thing. I reached out to him. I did not go as far as to say like, hey, can I get the prototype to test? I was purely interested in, hey, can I get my hands on one? Because not being able to use pedals, twist is a critical component for a stick for me, right?
Sure.
So my request to them was, have you guys considered the fact that this will actually provide people with disabilities more access to flight control?
Absolutely.
And so I want one for that perspective, from the perspective of like, I can't use my feet for pedals. And this was before, chat was kind enough to help me get some VKB dual sticks. But, this is like the only control system that I had looked at and thought, this has everything that I need. It has 6 complete degrees of control. I get all my translation and all my rotation, and it's all in one stick. Absolutely, yes. Where do I sign up?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm really excited to see you get your hands on it, because you have so much experience with so many different control systems. And
yeah, you know, I did a
kind of like
HOTAS
me, I
review.
think, in that.
Yeah, I love playing with different stuff, right? Like I did a HOTAS review about a while back, so I've actually had at home the, obviously the Warthog, the X52, the X56, the T16000, and somebody asked about that earlier, and I'll admit I'm not a big fan of it. It mainly because I really don't like the throttle. I don't like the design of it. I
Right.
feel like it's a little on the cheap feeling side. The stick is actually pretty good, and it's one that, because it's ambidextrous, a lot of guys use it for dual stick. But I also
Right.
don't like the stick in that it only has one hat on the thumb, and the base has got a number of buttons on it, but those, if you're using it with a throttle, those are essentially not useful, certainly not during combat. And then the CH makes some good stuff. The only problem with the CH stuff is it feels like, and it was designed like in the 90s or something. It's
Right.
very old feeling. I haven't gotten to try the Virpil stuff. I've emailed them a couple times, like, hey, do you have any of these you can send to creators? Here's my channel, and I don't even hear back. So I think I'm just way too small for them. And I have the VKB Sim pedals, but I've not tried the actual VKB Sim sticks like you. I had another friend who got one of the gunfighters recently, the lower end of the gunfighters, and he's a big fan of it as well. So
Yeah, I've had zero trouble with them. I really like them.
yeah, and VKB Sim, if I remember it, is a Russian company.
Yeah,
Is that right? Yeah,
that's correct.
And Virpil is based in Belarus, so both in that
Yep.
part of the world, basically. And so yeah, like I'm still, at some point my gut says I will wind up with a Virpil stick. I really
Right.
don't like the the Virpil throttle that they just came out with, right?
Right.
I don't know. It's more designed for flight. And by the way, I'm not paying.
Yes.
I'm watching chat, and I keep hitting the orbital glide too fast. It's more designed for flight than it is for space. And their first one, what do they call it? I'm forgetting the name. But their first throttle, which I don't know that I've not seen it on eBay or anything, but I don't think they make anymore. That one was much more space focused, and I was really interested in getting, and was actually really, really close to pulling the trigger. And then I saw they didn't sell it anymore, and then that just kind of turned me off altogether.
Yeah.
So, but I am somewhat worried that I'm going to get the Sublight and really fall in love with it, and then have to send it back to them. Right. And not want to. Right. But yeah, I talked to Avaldina for, we probably talked for an hour and a half one afternoon about it.
Yeah.
And she gave me a bunch of, her take on it. She's got the original style one that's got like all the wires hanging it. It's a very different design.
Yeah.
And hers looks cool, but I do think the new design is the better design.
Yeah, I really like the new design as well. I think that
apparently it's two guys. It's literally like two guys that went to engineering school together, something like that.
Yep. And they're like, we got a better idea. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that they're very open, apparently, at least right now, while it's still in the development Kickstarter-y kind of prototyping phase. Dang it. There we go again.
Did you crash again? Jeez.
Yep.
I don't understand.
It's when I was dropping into Glide.
What it is about the difference, right? Like Obsidian was crashing earlier this morning. I don't know that he got it worked out or not. You know what? I'm going to DM him real quick and see if I don't know that he's on right now, but.
Yeah, I wonder if there's. I know they were doing, like, Comcast was doing some stuff in the area not too long ago, a couple days ago. So I wonder if they borked something on one of the local routers or something like that. It's messing it up.
I don't know if you saw his comments in the RTO Discord this morning, but he was posting about it, and he tried everything. Like he couldn't. I've had it where when I jump, it crashes on me. And then as a tip, guys, if that happens, if you can't jump to Super Cruise because you're crashing, jump to hyperspace. Usually we'll get, and then jump back in the system. We'll usually fix it. But he had tried to log out of the game, like fully log out of the launcher and everything, and could not get back in.
Yeah.
And it just seems something weird's going on somewhere on the net, because all of a sudden now my my YouTube admin panel shows I have no viewers. Right?
Oh, interesting.
I mean, I don't think that's correct. If I let's and there just jump back. There's 193. It just popped back in. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if that's something client. I've never seen it do that before. So I don't know if that's client side,
That's
or
weird.
if that's on their side. So, so yeah. So let's go. So we talked a little bit earlier about like your favorite thing to do. Sounded like that
Yeah.
was basically exploration. Am I right?
Yeah, I do love exploration. I've recently started doing more like trying to do Thargoid interceptor combat.
Okay.
And I really like the mechanics of those fights. It's patience is not my strong suit, and those fights require patience if you want to
Yes,
solo
they do. Yes, they
an
do.
interceptor. So it's kind of an interesting, there's some psychology involved in those fights that's a little bit interesting too. But yeah, I do enjoy that. I like combat, but really exploration is like what I think is most near and dear to my heart when it comes to like being in the cockpit.
Have you taken down a basilisk yet?
Not yet. No,
Yeah,
I've done a Cyclops, but that's as far as I've gotten. I think I've got 4 or 5 Cyclops solo kills.
I don't know if you saw my video about credit balance recently. And
I did.
Yeah. And so like one of the things that I actually think, looking back on when I specifically around the Thargoid part, I think I massively underestimated, because I think I suggested taking a Cyclops to 20 or to 10 million, and a Basilisk to 20.
Right.
And you know what? Honestly, I think it should be doubled beyond that. I think a Cyclops should be 20, a Basilisk should be 40, a Medusa should be 100, and a Hydra should be 200. As hard as they are, for those that haven't done it, it is absolutely, next to PvP, it is the hardest combat that exists in Elite. It's you have to be very methodical about it. It requires a lot of planning. It absolutely requires patience, especially if you're, like you said, if you're soloing one. What ship have you been using for it?
I started out in a Alliance Chieftain.
Okay, yep, great ship for it.
And then moved to Crate Mark II.
Yep, another good ship for it.
And I am not sure which one I like more. They're drastically different builds. I recently tried doing a Cyclops shieldless for the first time in the Chieftain.
Yep, okay.
And I was not patient enough to make that work.
Okay.
Because part of the secret of soloing with no shields is knowing when I need to turn, run for a little bit, do some repair.
Yep.
Be patient with the swarm. I don't have to worry about kill. Like, it's not a race. Downing an interceptor solo is not a race.
Certainly not a sprint.
It feels like it should be.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I completely
you want to
agree.
you want to get done before the berserk happens, but you also don't want to go absolutely crazy on it. So
I've done it in a Sidewinder several times, and I've got an Eagle I do it with too. And again, like you said, the thing I kind of don't like about it as much in those ships is you've basically got to go in, fight, take out the one heart, and then run for a minute and a half. Right.
Yeah.
And just like you've just basically got to run. Right. There's no two ways about it. And then you wait until the shields come back down. Then you run back in. Bam, 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 bam. Take it a heart, and then you run again, and you just run. Right. And I'm the type that's just, I get into a fight and I like to just be balls out brawling. Right to the wall. So it just feels odd to have to wait like that. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm down here on the surface, and I'm just kind of showing.
I'm about 700 clicks away from you.
Okay. Well, I'll wait for you for a second then. What's your boost speed on that thing?
Just a second. That's a good question. Hold on.
Because you can get the clipper to about 650 if it's if it's fully done.
I think it's probably closer to 500.
Okay. That's slow.
And actually, right now it's probably 500. When I'm in full exploration mode, it's closer to like high 300, low 400. I think, just because I carry very underrated thrusters.
Gotcha.
When I'm doing exploration, just to save on weight,
make it nice and light. Yeah. Well, especially to hit that 55 light years, right?
Yes. Yep.
Oh yeah.
You're looking at like 3 or 4, like the very bare minimum thrusters that you can have on the ship. So there's like There's no boost. There's very little and oddly enough, it's the first ship I've ever had that I've used drive distributors instead of drag drives and seen felt a significant difference.
Sure. On lighter ships, you absolutely get that. So like on the Viper and things like that, where if you're trying to hit max speed, you've got to have drive distributors, depending on the build. And so there was a question, by the way, Encrypted asked, he said, ask Mal how fast the donation goal for his sticks got filled. It's a surprising answer.
Yeah. So what would your get? Like, we were just chatting in stream and I was like, yeah, I'd really like to get those, and there was some push from chat about like, yeah, you should definitely get dual sticks. It's the, I've got dual sticks. It's the best, and VKB sticks. And I'm like, okay, we'll put up a donation bar. It's like, I don't know, $800 or something like that to get the pair of sticks. And how long would you think it would take a chat to get behind that sort of initiative?
Well, because we're talking about it, obviously my answer is going to be much faster than expected. Hey, look, we had somebody come join us in a crate. Ooh, pretty. I haven't seen that paint job yet. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that's nice. I like it. It's Miami Vice.
It's very Miami Vice. Oh, that's very cool. I dig that. I don't see who it is yet. I'll see in a second when I jump back into my ship. So let me think about it.
And I'm out again.
Jesus Christ. All right. We'll just not worry about it, unfortunately. So normally I would guess something like that would have taken, I need to know a little more information. How many viewers do you normally get per stream?
On the weekends, we hover right around between 90 and 110 average viewers.
Okay. So with that, I would guess it would have taken something like 10 to 15 hours of, over multiple streams, right?
The stream,
Now, because obviously the answer is going to be much shorter than that, or we wouldn't be talking about it. I guess the other question is, did you have one giant donor, or were they all moderate donations?
I had 3 donors that basically bought the sticks in less than 3 minutes.
So you had 3 big, really generous donors.
Yeah.
And it was literally 3 minutes
one is
from
anonymous.
when you started.
One I still don't know. Yeah.
Wow.
It was like 3 minutes. It was like, here, I'm going to throw in. One of them was like, here, I'll throw in 100. Somebody else was like, here's 200. And then anonymous 250. And then the first guy that donated was like, I'm just going to make up the difference. And I was like, I broke.
Okay, so was one of them either Corvus or Rednecks Gaming?
Oddly enough, no.
Oh, okay. Both of them have been very generous to me and to a couple other guys in the community. That's why I threw their names out, right? Because they've both been very generous.
I recognize the names, yeah. Actually, one was anonymous, so it could have been.
Could have been one of them, right? If you want to shout out the other 2 guys, if you remember, feel free, right?
Yeah, it was Interested Observer was one of them.
Okay.
And then, of course, because you asked, my brain is not going to work. Oh, the Lego 1912.
Okay. All right. Wow, I got to get them watching my streams, don't I?
Right. Exactly.
Wow, that really is.
There's your Sublight Dynamics totally funded.
Exactly. And it's Shatter Mage who's here with me. I thought I saw him in Super Cruise, not surprised. So welcome, Shatter. If you can get back in, I'm going to go to, I still want to say Parseo. Perico? Is that how you said it? Perico,
yeah.
Perico, something like that. If anybody knows how to pronounce Pareco, Perico, I'm definitely, and yes, this is Midland Hollow, Bremore. Sorry, I didn't see on Twitch. So let's head there, just while we're chatting. So roughly, how many hours do you have in game at this point?
Right between, so I have 3 accounts. I have MalForTheWin, which is my main account that I do most of the stuff on. I have a Mal FTW account, which is kind of like my jumping around the bubble alternate account. But then there's also a actual Commander Dogs of Lore account. Dogs of Lore is my community name. It's also our in-game squadron, in-game player minor faction, which is based out of Pathamon. Between all 3 of those accounts, I probably have right around 2,200 hours in game.
Okay, and when did you start playing?
I started actually playing like a lot, like spending time, legitimate time in game, right around the time Distant Worlds 2 kicked off, which was January 15th, I think, 2000. Was it 2018 or 2019? I can't remember.
I think that was
years
Distant
are
Worlds
hard.
2. I think it was 18.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. So around January 2018.
Okay, gotcha. And you said a second ago you tossed out a number for your distance. What was that again? Because I'm curious. You might actually have me beat. I've got quite a bit more hours than you, but I wonder if you've got me beat.
Right. Let me pull up EDSM real quick and take a look, because my total hours, I know I'm see it and account log in.
Because I tweeted out mine a
MalForTheWin.
while back on my EDSM stat. Am I signed in there? No, let me sign in real quick. Because I don't think, where do you do it? It's under dashboard. Is that where it is?
Yeah, I think it's under dashboard, and
yeah,
then,
and it takes a minute for it to come up, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What?
Obsidian just cracked me up. Now, and you just cracked me. So I asked Obsidian if he was still having problems, and he said orange sidewinder, and I said, you're getting purple python, right?
I've gotten a couple. I've gotten taupe cobra, gold cobra, and purple python.
Okay, okay. And Obsidian said, don't Google that. Yeah, that'd probably be a good one to not Google.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not the best way to go. Let's see. Where is...
So I'm at... Yeah, okay. So actually, I do think I've gotten you beat, but we'll wait and see. Not to make this a dick measuring contest.
Okay. So here's this is just on my main account. This doesn't count the alt accounts, right? So approximate game time played, 14 weeks, 4 days, 2 hours, 17 minutes. I know you got me beat on that.
Okay.
Total hyperspace distance, 858,000 light years.
Ah, okay. We're close. I'm at 968,000. And that's just
You're creeping up on 1 million.
Yeah, that's just my primary as well, right? So, and my alt is the one that I do most of my long range stuff in, right? Like, and I've got to be over 1 million between both, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. So Obsidian just said, yeah, he Googled purple python. Then he realized he should have added Elite Dangerous in the search term, right? Oh God, that's funny.
Oops.
It's hysterical.
Oops.
Yeah, like, okay, so once when I was married and my ex, who's an awful person anyway, but that's a whole nother conversation. My ex was very, very prudish. And one year for Christmas, she wanted a very traditional pearl necklace, right? Well, she Google image searched pearl necklace. You might not want to do that.
Yep. You could end up with slightly different results than you were expecting.
So Obsidian, by the way, to change the subject back to something more elite and appropriate, Obsidian said that his was because there were too many fleet carriers in the system, and I've actually seen that myself before.
Yeah.
So Frontier was nice enough. Yeah, Frontier was nice enough to move him, to get him out of the system. And I said that's definitely not your issue, because the systems we've been in and you've been crashing have got basically nobody in them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're pretty close, and for me to have that many more hours than you have, but you have almost just as much distance that I have, right? Like that's impressive, right? Because you've obviously done a lot more,
lots of traveling.
Than I have. Yeah, right. And I'm actually noticing
exploration is something I really enjoy.
Oh, absolutely, right. And by the way, for those that don't use it, if you use tools like ED Market Connector and things like that, they will connect your account to EDSM, which is ED Star Map, and track everywhere you've been. You can link it to Inara. You can link it to, there's a lot of third-party stuff. That's how the tools, like if you use things like EDDB and Inara for market data and stuff like that, that's how that data is collected. So running ED Market Connector is something I really try to encourage everybody to do. It's this little, here, I'll show it on screen real quick for those that haven't seen it. It's just this little app like this, and it lets you do other cool things like right here, I can right click and get the system name. I can click on a ship build and bam, there's the full ship build, just as it is, exactly the way the build is. So you don't have to, so you can export stuff really quickly. Really, really fantastic tool. And another thing it does is it tracks, and I've got a material hunting tool that I've been meaning to make a video about here for a while, that every time you pick up a specific material, it will log that material to a database, like any material, any player that's doing that. And then, and I'll show this real quick, if you go to the material finder tool here on EDTutorials.com, you can say, like, name a material, Mal. Preferably something that's grade 5, like a manufactured.
Pharmaceutical isolators.
Pharma isolators. So you go to pharma isolators. I can say in the last 24 hours in search, and it will show me where commanders have actually gathered pharmaceutical isolators in the last 24 hours. And shockingly enough, only 12 have actually been collected. If we look at something that's much more, not nearly as rare, like say Imperial Shielding, we should get a lot of those. Yeah. It's really best for like the high grade stuff. Like there you go. So here's 4 systems. Commanders have gotten 33 in this one system. That kind of stuff. Core Dynamics is another that's really popular.
Core Dynamics composites. Yeah.
Let's see how many of those there are. Okay, there you go. There's a bunch that have been found of those. If you pick, if you do like, let's see, Tellurium, because those are out at the crystal shards, I guarantee you it's going to be that system for the crystal shards. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's not.
HIP 36601?
No, I'm thinking of the Cienfu systems.
Gotcha.
The other one that's out there. Yttrium's out there. Let's see.
Yep.
Maybe nobody's been out there that's running the tool. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there it is. That's one of the systems that's out at the Crystal Shard sites, right?
Yep.
So it's only as good as people run the tool, right? It's only as good as the data that gets collected. So, okay, so now I'm going to head to, so the system I'm in now, Parcio, Parkio, whatever you want to call it. What's interesting about it is you'll notice on the system map, there are 4 large stations and 2 outposts, but no planets. So if we head,
none.
Yeah, like literally none. Let's head to one of these instead. When we drop at these, you can see the other stations in normal space because they're within like 100 kilometers of each other. Actually, do I have
it's really, really cool. It's one of my favorite systems to go hang out in.
Yeah, agreed, right. It's unfortunate that they're so far from the star, but yeah. Right, it's one of those very unique systems, right? The site, guys, sorry, hold on. I've got a few questions about what site that was. Let me self-promote a bit. Oh, and I need to, let me put in your
please do.
Your links. Okay, so that is, we'll do a little link spammy spam real quick. And so Mal's sites, so here is Mal on Twitch. So if you're not following Mal on Twitch, please go there now, especially those that are watching me on Twitch right now. And then for Twitter, here is his Twitter as well. So if you're a tweet kind of person, it's funny, like I've gotten used to Twitter now, and I've kind of gotten it built into my just kind of my normal workflow where if I post a video or there's something going on, I'll go to Twitter. It took me a while to get used to that because I just kind of actively hate social media. And so I didn't really interact on it much. But yeah, I've gotten to where, I get some use out of it. I think people, it's been useful to have some conversation with people or, stuff like that. So, hey, if you want to tweet me, I'm just Exigeous on Twitter as well, right? Okay, and somebody did point out the carrier here. Oh, sorry, no, please go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if you all have not used EDTutorials yet, oh my God, please go check it out. It's an absolutely fantastic collection of knowledge and resources and brains of people who contribute to that initiative that has been lacking in the Elite Dangerous world for quite a while. So thanks so much for putting that together for the commanders out there, man. It's
the idea when we started it was like I always wanted to have some place to kind of catalog all of my stuff, right? Because YouTube is, it's great for if you're a subscriber and you're seeing stuff as stuff gets posted. But for the old stuff, it's so hard to find, unless you just kind of like scroll through stuff, or just if you're really, get into a channel and you dig through everything in the channel. It's so difficult to, to find what's there. And I'm also trying to figure out, guys, I just saw that okay, I guess I didn't fly by those stations. So I wanted to come up with something that, and I'll go ahead since we're talking about it and show it again. If you want to, actually, let me throttle down before I fly right past this at 1,000,000 miles an hour. That if you, whoops, hold on. Where did it go? Sorry, hold on. Let's do that. There we go. And get that out of the way. So I wanted it to be something that would be a catalog from a bunch of different sources, right? Because while obviously a lot of the content is mine, probably the bulk of the content's mine, I wanted to organize it into different categories so that it would be very easy to be, like you come in, you go to general stuff. Oh, okay. Oh, what's Elite? There's a video about that. Like, okay, various third-party tools I'm going to use. Hey, I'm a new player. Here's stuff for new players. Stuff about ships. I want to unlock things, right? So that you could easily find stuff that you might not even know to search for, right?
Right.
And then to have contributions from a number of different creators. So all of the different people in the top, right? Like, again, you can see all of my videos here. If you want to go to somebody like Flintlock and see all of Flintlock's stuff, right? You can see the videos he submitted, right? We've got a lot of the pilot stuff here. And so just so that it wouldn't just be just me. So you get a lot of buy-in from the whole community to build the content and kind of keep it going, keep it fresh, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm glad you found it useful.
Yep, absolutely.
If
Having things organized in that way is so helpful.
Yeah, right. And if you do decide that you're going to actually make some, create some content for YouTube, I know before we started you had mentioned that. By all means, hit me up. I would love to add your stuff. And just to be clear to everybody, when you go to each of the sections, we kind of co-brand the subsections for everybody. And any of the videos, or for those that create videos that are embedding it, they're embedding their videos from their channels, so they're getting the views. If they're monetized, they're getting the ad revenue, right? So the idea was never, and the site itself is not monetized. It will never be monetized because there's no fair way to do that, right? Like, I pay for the hosting of it. It doesn't cost a whole lot, because, if we tried to do it any other way, like how do you split the revenue? It just becomes not really possible, right?
Yeah.
So, and also, as I started to point out, somebody did point out on stream, Shatter Mage, I think it was, that you're right. The carrier that's here is Malik's carrier. And as you see, you can see this little orbital system here, which is actually all of the stations, and their orbital paths of each other, right? So if we drop here, at web, we should be able to then target Neville Ring. And if we look behind us, in normal space, we'll see there's Neville Ring right there. And the others are, I think it's I should have gone to Crown. I think that's the one.
Is it Crown? Yeah.
That you go
that you
to
can
and
actually
you can see all of them.
see. Yeah.
And let's see.
So cool.
Let's see how long it's going to take me if I just flew there in normal space. Probably too long for this. Yeah, it's going to take like 20 minutes. So let's just super cruise there real quick. I've done the time-lapse video. I did a time-lapse video once from flying from a planetary surface all the way up to a planet. Because if you guys don't know, all of this is normal. Like, so I can be in normal space on a planetary surface and fly up to a orbital station and never leave normal space. I can do it the entire way. Oh, maybe this isn't the one because everything is still 600 from me. There's one where you can get the view. Maybe it's...
Yeah.
We'll try one more. Maybe it's this outpost. Because I can't remember. Shatter, if you happen to find... I'm heading to RC Dock, whatever. So if you head to one of the others, let me know if you find the right one. We'll try this one more time. That Crate Phantom is mass locking my Asp Explorer. It's so silly how some of the mass lock rules are.
Yeah.
Like literally a Python mass locks a Type 9.
Yeah.
Riddle
that
me
should
that.
Not beat.
Right? Okay, this is the wrong one too because now I'm further from everything. I'm a megameter from everything now. But I think everybody gets it. And I've got actually in one of my videos, maybe I can even find it. Let me just do that. I've got a screenshot or a quick little video of it. Let's see. Is it stations? Hold on, guys. Because this is a really cool view, and I just don't want to waste more time to find it. Oh, maybe it's under systems. Yeah, here we go. Here we go. So, yeah, there you go. So you see right here, and I just can't figure out where I was to shoot this, but you can get to the point where you can see in normal space, you know, these three stations all in one view of each other.
Yeah.
Right. So there we go. At least I didn't get to show it live, but hey, I could have just faked it like a TV show. Like, hey, yeah, this is where we are.
Look, here it is. This is the external camera.
Yeah.
Nobody will know.
I think I'll head to the last one that I had marked as purple rings. Okay. And I can't remember what that means. And I'm gonna need to wrap up here in just a little bit. I've got to stop.
Yeah, no worries.
At 3. So yeah, we talked about your, why don't we do that a little bit? Why don't we talk about your channel, when you stream, like what you're all about, what your streams are about. We kind of, I forgive me. We've kind of been a little all over the place today. I should have started with that, but yeah, tell us a little more about specifically your channel, why people would want to come watch.
Yeah. So, I'm not the best pilot. I think the thing people seem to enjoy most about coming to hang out on my streams, which are like 95% of the stuff I do is all Elite Dangerous. I'll occasionally hop into like one of the other space games or, something like that. But mostly it's Elite Dangerous stuff, especially on the weekends. But I think people just enjoy hanging out in a community where the person streaming and the people in chat just all have the same sort of passion for, like, it's not necessarily that we're the best or we have the best combat or we have the best exploration, we have the best, it's just about enjoying each other's company and being in the cockpit of a spaceship and flying around in essentially a one-to-one representation of our Milky Way galaxy. It's like and I think that's really the biggest draw for us is the just the sense of community and the sense of casual gameplay, not taking it too seriously, worrying about the serious stuff, worrying about FA off. How do I get my modules engineered to grade 5? How do I unlock this particular engineer? How do I get to the other side of the galaxy? If I wanted to get to Beagle Point, what do I need to do to build a ship to get there? But throughout the whole thing, it's all very casual. There's not a whole lot of it's pretty much Wheaton's Law. Don't be a dick and just enjoy hanging out with each other, talking about what we're seeing in game, what we're experiencing, what we like to do. I said most of the content is Elite Dangerous. My big streams are on Saturday and Sunday. It starts at around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning Central US time. Okay. And usually we'll go for about 5 or 6 hours. I do stream on Tuesday nights US Central time, so like 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. In the evenings. We'll spend a little bit of time. Usually we're in open doing BGS stuff on Tuesdays. But for the most part, we just hang out and we talk about space and we talk about Elite and we just kind of like we've been doing today, just sort of talking about this, that, and the other. Squirrel all over the place. There's a squirrel command on there that on the channel because I do it so much, and it counts how many times I squirrel. Because
forgive me. What do you mean by squirrel?
What were we talking about? Oh, wait. Yes, that's what I mean.
Okay, gotcha.
Like
gotcha.
Squirrel.
Okay.
There's a bright,
I got you.
shiny light over there that distracts me.
I got you.
Yeah.
And so, when you say we, do you generally have folks join you in voice? Do you tend to just interact with your chat?
Most of the time it's just interacting with chat, but we've gotten to the point where we're starting to do more like voice chat, sort of like larger groups of folks, getting to come into voice chat and kind of like wing up together and go do things as a group. because typically it's been sort of, we might wing up together, but we'll keep all of the chat literally in chat, as text. But now that we have a Discord that's starting to take off. We've got like 400 people in Discord now, which is ridiculous to me. Like, I was surprised when we had 50 people in the Discord, and like now we've got like 50 people in the or like 400 people in Discord. There's we're almost at 3,000 followers on Twitch. We're it's just things are growing at a ridiculously fast rate.
That's
so
great. That's
we're
great.
starting to have, we're starting to embrace more of that aspect of, hey, we've got all these people, let's get together and do stuff as a group, which has been kind of a really neat experience to go through.
If you'll DM me real quick your Discord URL, I'll toss that in chat for everybody.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
You can actually get to it from.
Well, do you have a permanent invite that won't expire?
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact,
that's what I'm looking for, just to make sure that that I don't want to share a short one that'll expire.
No, this actually, we have a, hold on, where the heck did my Discord go? There it is. This actually should work. Hold on, let me make sure first, real quick. Here we go. Let's do that one.
Okay, great.
It's the cheesy way to get it to work.
Actually,
in a way funny. That's not a bunch of letters and numbers.
Yeah, like I've been lazy. I need to set that up for ours. In fact, we recently, I'm waiting for the application for, I think it's called Discord Partner.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that. Like, I applied for that like a month or so ago. They closed down applications again. Oh
man.
Yeah. So I haven't heard back yet, but we meet all the criteria, so I expect we'll do it. I think it's, even with us, like we're just over 4,000, and I think that like their limit, I think you have to be only like 500 to do it. And like Buddy and I think it should be much higher than that. I think it should be higher than 4,000 here. Yeah. I think it should be 5 or 10,000 that, you really have to be big to get it. Cause I think they get so many applications that they just can't, they just can't keep track of it, right? Or they can't keep up with all the applications. And so when did you,
I would agree with that.
When did you start streaming, and when did you start getting into that?
Mm-hmm. So I started streaming in 2017, and I did just World of Warcraft when I started.
Okay.
And then gradually, I forget who it was. I saw somebody else streaming Elite Dangerous and was like immediately hooked.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm old enough that I think I was 6 years old when Star Wars came out in the theater. So like, I had my parents take me to the theater to see Star Wars every day for like 2 weeks. So like, so I'm a little bit older than the average, like,
hey,
CSGO,
careful now.
Fortnite.
Careful. Okay, I was going to say older than the average gamer, because I think you and I are pretty much the exact same age based on that comment, right? So, don't make us out to be too old.
But I think Elite in general kind of has a much wider age range, from some of the typical FPS kind of games.
Sure.
It's
certainly generally an older crowd for certain, right?
Yep. But streaming World of Warcraft, I was just like, I wasn't enjoying it. And then when I saw somebody streaming Elite, I'm like, like I said, I saw Star Wars when it came out. I've always loved space. I had all the space Lego sets. I went to space camp when I was in middle school. Like,
did you
space
really?
Is the thing.
Awesome.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, it was like, I've always loved it. I took my minor when I was at South Carolina. University of South Carolina was astronomy. So like, I legit have a special place in my heart for space related stuff. And it may have been Pumpkinberry I saw streaming this. But I was like, oh my God, I need this game immediately. Like, I had played the original Elite on the Amiga many moons ago, and never even knew that this was a thing, that Elite Dangerous had come out. Like, I just hadn't, it wasn't in my field of view. And then I saw it and was like, oh my God, yes, please. This has to be a thing. And as soon as I booted it up, I'm like, I'm changing my branding. I'm going to be like all space stream all the time. Elite Dangerous is the only thing that people should be watching. And then never looked back.
That's great. Right. Yeah. I
Like,
think
the
especially for
community
our
is so
generation,
amazing.
I think especially for our generation that grew up with the space shuttle and all of that was so new, right? And certainly even the generation before us with the, with the Apollo program and stuff, right? It was just,
Right.
space has become, I want to say, just normal and commercial. I mean, to a degree it has. But
Right.
yeah, like I was so sad to see, well, obviously the shuttle disasters, but to see the shuttles, be gone, right? Like,
Decommissioning.
yeah. Right. And that, I felt like in the last decade or so, we lost the space shuttle, we lost SR-71 Blackbird, and we've stopped like kind of pushing the limit and engineering just to see if we can, which, I get the, it should be, should we versus can we, but man, I miss that. Can we do it? Let's just try these batshit crazy things. I mean, the fastest plane ever, the X-16, is that right? Or is it the 15? The little rocket
remember.
Ship thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was in the late 60s that we set the speed record, right?
Yeah.
How was that 60 years ago we did that? Right.
Yeah, it's like, to an extent, we've lost that sense of wonder around.
A little bit.
Like, of looking up at the stars and going, what if?
Yep. I've said for the longest time, there's two things I look forward to, a president doing, and that's kind of like JFK did, and say, in 10 years, we're going to be on Mars, or in 10 years, we're going to be a hydrogen-based economy, right? Something to push us technologically again, to be in that, world leadership position. Right. It took the Cold War, and I get the politics behind that. And there was a lot of not necessarily good money spins around that. But, to get us back into that hungry to explore, because the one thing humanity has always been and done is explorers. Right. We've always been, hey, what's over there? I'm going to go find out.
Right. Yep.
So, and apparently my bookmark of purple rings, this is what I meant by purple rings. It's
accurate.
It's very purple here, isn't it? I'm guessing it's the color of the sun. What is the sun class here? Oops. I can't pull up the system map when I'm in the third-party camera. It is a... Let's select the star. That'd be good. It is a... Where's the damn star class?
Class B.
Am I just blown? Oh, there it is at the top. I was like, duh. It's a Class B. Oh, interesting. A blue-white. Okay. It's a big one, too. 15 solar masses and 5 solar radius.
Wow.
Have you been to
That's a big puppy.
Betelgeuse or VY Canis Majoris?
Been to Canis Majoris, have not been to Betelgeuse yet.
Oh, you got to go to Betelgeuse. Mainly because there's a planet, Betelgeuse 2, I think it is, that's right next to it where you can land. And so, like, being able to land there and get an SRV and just look up at this massive, massive star is really, really cool.
I'll have to do that in VR. Just for the sense of scale.
Exactly. Well, the first time I went to VY Canis Majoris, you drop out, and to a degree, because of the perspective, it looks like every other star. And I glanced down, and a buddy was with me. Well, he happened to drop on the opposite side of the star, and we're 12,000 light seconds away from each other.
Holy cow.
Right? And you realize just how unbelievably massive it is. Recently, I was at Sagittarius A, and I want to say it's 60 light seconds from the center. Right? And again, you think of how massive that black hole is. And in my alt account, I showed this the other day when I was doing the Quest unboxing. I'm at the Shiroga Nebula, which is where blue and green is, Tranquility Stop, if you happen to know that that nebula. And the black hole there is only 24 kilometers from the center.
Wow.
It's so small.
Wow.
Right? So you get this massive range, and I wonder how realistic that is and what the smallest black hole could be. There's got to be somebody out there in the math that would know that, right?
We can find out. So I've had I know you're familiar with HCS voice packs.
Absolutely.
They have a new one called Crusoe that's voiced
Okay.
by Eileen Perez, who is a physicist, astrophysicist. She worked on the Cassini probe for NASA
Oh,
on the
okay.
photography suite
Okay.
for Cassini. So, and I have actually had her on my stream and done an interview
Oh,
and
great.
we'll ask her like science questions and stuff like that. So we can ask her the next time she comes on stream.
Oh, that'd
and
be
like,
fascinating.
Hey, okay,
Yeah.
so here's your science question. How small can a black hole be?
Next time you know she's going to be around, please DM me so I make sure and see that.
Yeah.
I would love to hear that. Right?
Yeah.
I will
make
Deuce made
a note of
a good point too. Like, how do you measure a black hole if it been space time? I think you can measure outside of the black hole, right? You know, where the event horizon is. You can measure the radius of the event horizon from the distortion. And that's one of the things I've wished for a long time, especially now that we photographed a black hole finally, and that and how accurate Interstellar got it in its depiction. That I really wish they would update the black holes in Elite. I really would love to see that, because if you haven't seen a black hole in Elite, it's really cool, right? They're worth going to see. There is in fact, we're going to call it quits before I could get there, but there's several around the bubble that you can go see. In fact, I don't know that the bubble is dense enough for this, but let me show one trick that I learned recently. Yeah, it's not going to be dense enough here, but let me. There it is. I'm going to misspell that, but it might get it right. No, how the fuck do you spell Sagittarius? S-A-G. Let me let Google do it. I never can spell it right. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Google Spell Check. If you go to the galaxy map, and apparently this is an Obsidian Ant trick. If you go to the galaxy map and you put it in realistic mode, so not map, you notice that a black hole, like Sagittarius A, giant black dot. Zoom out a little bit. This worked really well in VR. And start moving the camera. And you'll notice we're just flying through the star field, and we're looking for little black dots.
Yeah. Yep.
And it actually works better in VR. And let's see if we find any.
Yep.
The other day I did this, and I found like a dozen.
Yep.
And of course,
and it's so weird because you'll find a space where there's like a little farm of black holes.
Exactly. Like there's just black holes everywhere all of a sudden. And, I wonder how much that's, the game engine and how accurate that is. And of course, I'm not seeing any. This really is a lot easier to do in VR because you can move your head around so quickly. Oh, come on. Now that I'm doing this, I want to find at least one.
Now it's become personal.
Yeah, now it's like, I know there are some. I could zoom to the Great Attractor or something like that. I can't remember what zoom scale I was on. It's kind of just a relaxing. This would be a great screensaver, wouldn't it?
Right? That's it. You could do a video of this and make it like your starting soon or ending stream.
Oh, that's actually not bad.
Just like,
that's not a bad idea, actually. Yeah, of course I'm not seeing one now. Oh, come on.
This is I've never done this to find black holes before, but I definitely do it to find like Wolf Rayet and Herbig and like some of the bigger blue stars, because I love the visuals that you get with the bluish purple lighting in a system. So like out at the view, like anytime you got like that great tint to everything, it's just wonderful. Which the view is where they're doing Speedball 4 next month, right?
I think that is right. Yes.
Oh gosh, I can't wait. I'm definitely going to Speedball a Clipper.
I'd be a good ship for it. Sure. Well, I guess I'm going to be defeated because I'm not going to do this all day. But
Look at all those purpley blueness there.
I know. There's lots of them, isn't there?
That's excellent.
Oh, come on. I would show Maya, except Maya, it has to be the central star.
Right.
Maybe if I zoom in a little more. Ooh, my frame rate's tanking. Here we go. Well, the other thing too is if you've never been to the core systems, like you can see just how incredibly dense the star field is. It's
Yep.
really, really amazing to see this part of space. Well, damn it. I guess I'm going to be failed. Of course, like I said, the other day when I was doing this in VR, like you said, I came across, a section that had just like, they were just everywhere, right? I couldn't believe how many I found. Because yes, now I don't want to
Murphy's Law. Now that you're looking for one, there won't be any. There's no such thing as a black hole.
My dad jinxed me when I was a kid. My family's last name is Carlson. He said, Murphy's Law is, whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Carlson's Law is Murphy was an optimist. Like, thanks, Dad. Right? And he pretty much
appreciate that.
Pretty much jinxed me after that. Yeah, I'm not seeing any. And I bet you I've passed a dozen, and I'm just going too fast. Oh, well. Whoops.
Yep.
Oops, wrong button. So, well, Mal, thank you so much for joining me today. Is there anything else that we haven't covered or shared about you, your channel, anything like that you wanted to throw out?
The last thing I will throw out is we need to get you on the Flight Assist podcast.
No, that doesn't sound sure. Of course. Yeah, it sounds great. Is that something you do regularly?
Yep.
Okay.
The Flight Assist podcast is me and Commander Psykit, and basically it's just conversations with elite dangerous commanders, and we don't talk about like the current CG and the news of the game and frontier stuff. It's all about the person we're interviewing, the commander that we're talking to.
Sure.
Because community and commanders is such a big part of Elite. When we decided we wanted to do a podcast, we were like, we want to make it about that because there's so much other content being generated around what's happening in game and what's happening from a mechanics perspective. We wanted to get the other side of that. Is like, what about the people that mechanic is affecting? What about the people who are playing the game that are seeing this from like, I like or I don't like this because it affects me and my community, right?
Sure.
So we would love to have you come on and talk to us if you got time.
Yeah, I'd love to. Do you have a link for past episodes and such that I can link to folks?
Oh yeah, flightassistpodcast.com.
Let me Flight Assist Podcast. Pretty straightforward name. Well, it seems like I can't type.
Yeah.
Flight Assist Podcast.com. Let's try that. Okay, what am I typoing? Let me just Google it. Flight.
Yeah, and it's available on it. We've got the website, and then it's also available on pretty much every every podcast platform that's out there.
There we go. Let me put that in chat. And encrypted. I've been meaning to add the little commands and stuff. In fact, I was playing with that earlier today, being able to add like Discord and stuff like that in chat. And I thought I had it all set up, but it didn't work. In fact, I meant to try it to see if it was working in YouTube, but it doesn't seem to be. Yeah, okay. But yeah, that's on my list encrypted. So you can do like Bank Squirrel and all the different stuff like that I now know you mentioned earlier, right? So do you do that? You guys do that weekly, monthly? How often do you guys do that?
We do it weekly. This week was our first week off ever. But typically they come out on Monday. A new episode drops every Monday.
Okay. Who are some of your former guests?
We've had Flintlock Engineering on. We've had Commander Burr and Commander Reenie.
Yep.
We've had Bruce and Steven from Frontier have both been on.
Yep.
We've had a good crop of folks come on and talk to us.
That's great. Yeah, how long have you guys been doing it?
We've been doing it since we just recorded our 20th episode.
Wow. Okay.
So one a week. So about 4 months.
Yeah. That's great. All right. Well, perfect.
But yeah,
well,
it's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun getting to talk to everyone.
Ping me and let me know when when works for you guys. It sounds like a lot of fun.
Sure.
Great. Well, again, Mal, thanks so much for joining me today. Guys, I usually like to do CQC at the end of the stream. Unfortunately, I've got to run right now, so I can't stick around for that. There are a ton of guys in Discord right now, so if you're looking for a match, I'm sure you can get one. I'll be streaming again next Tuesday night, or Tuesday. I used to do my Tuesday streams at like 8 o'clock Eastern, but I find that I get like literally 3 times the number of viewers if I do this time of day, because you get folks in Europe, right, and you just get a lot. It's a lot more accessible to folks. So so yeah,
this
I'll be
is a
back.
good crossover window.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, it definitely is. It definitely is. So so anyway, again, Mal, thanks for joining me. If you guys haven't subscribed to his various channels, please go follow him on Twitch and YouTube, or Twitch and Twitter, and the Discord. I will paste all those in. Let me do those one last time before we go, like a good little host at least.
I appreciate it, and thanks again for having me on.
Yeah, this has been great. I'm glad we finally worked this out. We'll definitely have to do this again sometime.
Absolutely.
All right, buddy. Well, thanks again, and appreciate everybody stopping by today. It's been a lot of fun for all your questions and stuff. The chat's been pretty active. I appreciate that. And yeah, look forward to seeing everybody soon. And like I said, as soon as I finish this and go back to my computer, I'll be posting the Oculus Quest review later this afternoon. And it's the short version, as I said off the top, it's fucking fantastic. I really think it's going to be really, really good for VR in general, because it's going to be so accessible, just because of the price point. So, so look for that. Otherwise, I will see everybody next week. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Mal.
Thanks.